Welcome, this is Frank Thomas. I'm going to step into some intermediate topics today, things that are going to be very important in your learning process. By this time, I've expected you to have gone through a lot of the first steps, gotten a feel of a lot of the major commands within UBot, and now you're kind of ready to take things to the next level. You've made a few robots, you feel fairly confident in what you're doing, but now it's time for you to start developing good programming practices, and that's the reason for this particular video. But don't worry, whenever I say programming or programming practices, I have people freak out. Truth of the matter is, you're already a programmer. If you're developing bots, even with UBot, and you're getting the idea of the flow of things and how things should work, then you're becoming a programmer. And don't worry, this will easily take your skills to the next level. Once you understand this, it's a slam dunk. Okay, so we're going to go through the process of laying out a successful bot. I'm actually going to just pick a site at random, and I'm going to pick a task at random. And the whole idea is going to be, I'm going to try to create this bot with the thought in mind that I'm going to be showing you my thought process as I'm building the bot. Now, I tell you something, when you're actually building a bot, the best way to do it is to learn how to lay it out in sections. Because what's going to happen is, as you get a feel for the website you're trying to automate, you're going to find easier ways to get the job done, so to speak. I actually just pretty much completed a robot for one client of mine, and when I initially looked at it, there was a lot of gotchas, a lot of little things that I caught after I initially started looking at it. And with time and with building and the techniques I'm going to show you in this video series, I was able to lay it out very successfully with the minimum amount of code, and the actual what I built in the end was actually pretty streamlined. So that's what I'm going to try to help you. So basically, we're going to look at the what, the whys, the wheres, the hows of sectional bot building, as I like to call it. We're going to make full use of the tabs to troubleshoot sections. And once we have a section troubleshooted, at the end of the robot, we will actually keep one robot that is all split up still, and then one robot that's all combined. It's the same code in the end for both of them, but the whole idea is, if something goes wrong down the road, it's very easy at that point in time to fix it. So with this whole idea, I'm going to be introducing the idea of using what's called subroutines. Again, don't freak out. This is a programming term, and what a subroutine is it's the idea of breaking up. Let's say you've got a really big pile of dirt. You got a shovel. You can't pick it all up with with a shovel, and if all you have is a shovel, you can't pick it all up with one shovel load. Okay? You have to actually do it shovel load by shovel load. And that's the same idea as creating anything in terms of programming, or it doesn't matter what you do. You have to define the task that you're doing, and what's going to happen is you're going to do a task at a time. So what's going to occur is you're going to create a task, you're going to have a task that you have to finish, and you're going to build all the code around that task to say that's finished, and you're going to go on to the next task, and so on and so forth. So at the end of the day, you've built a robot, and it's not been this monster. I know when you're just learning how to program, it's really easy to produce what I call spaghetti code. Now, what spaghetti code is you get this just monstrosity of things moving in all these different directions, and it's very difficult to troubleshoot. And if you're building a fairly complex robot with many different sites or many different features, you could build a lot of code or a lot of bubbles or nodes or modules on one page, and before you know it, your robot is running super slow. Okay? There's a better way to do that, and that's what we're going to be looking at. The actual command we're going to really bring out in this series is called the define command. I'm going to show you the different types of defined command, how it varies in different situations, and how to monopolize on the define command and build subroutines within UBot. Also, we're going to be looking at quickly, we're going to take a quick look within the series at local and global variables. Again, don't get freaked out. This is a fairly simple concept once you learn it. It's my task to show you what they are, because it's really easy to have a robot that's messed up because you can't seem to get the variables to work the way you want them to when it comes to worrying about whether it's a local variable or a global variable. Okay, so once again, without further ado, let's get started. In this intermediate tutorial series, I was thinking of designing a robot that would jump to a social website, grab the top posts, and see if any of them are going viral, so I can create postings and listings on sites that would be captured very quickly by Google and provide me with the nice opportunity to backlink. So there's lots of components in this, but I'm really going to be kind of tying into the initial components, which is centered around the social websites. So what I did was I went to I just kind of surfed the web looking for the top bookmarking sites, and I did come across this posting here. And I was looking at the different sites, and I was looking at them all, and I was looking for something that would be very viral. And it struck me that I didn't even think of going to Digg. So what it is, I went to Digg, and Digg is a great site to automate because there is a heck of a lot of elements in this page that are very JavaScript driven. For example, if I click on popular, it flips the page up into the popular section. If I go on upcoming, it flips it to there, or top stories. So there's a lot of JavaScript in the page. So it's a more complex page to automate. And what I want to do is I'm thinking I'm going to be going through this and picking up the names here, so it gives me some keywords to search, as well as the link to where the site is being taken to. So like, let's say the first one here, how to be a schizophrenic and successful, takes me to this opinions page. So this is what I want to scrape right here, is this link right here, okay, from the New York Times or from wherever it is. So that's kind of the first task at bay here. So what I'm going to do is, when I'm ever looking to automate something, what I'll normally do is I'll crack open Notepad. Notepad is the cheesy text editor you find on Windows, but it's just fantastic because it's great for quick notes. So I'm going to be going to Digg. What I want to do is I want to scrape the titles on up and coming info from Digg. Plus I want to also scrape the link URLs. Okay, so that's kind of the first thing I want to do. So what I'll do normally is, at this point in time, is I'll jump over to UBot, and then I'll actually go to Digg here. I'm just going to refresh this page so I have the latest information here. So I immediately know there's lots of information on this page, lots of titles, probably lots of links. So I'm probably going to be looking at using a couple lists here. So I'm going to start with the clear list command. Okay, and I'm just going to do add list to list. I want to see how difficult this is up front to actually grab this stuff. Now, an interesting point one can make is, if I'm going to be scraping titles as well as URLs, why wouldn't I use a table? Because tables really aren't designed to do this sort of functionality, like adding a list to a list. There's no real add. You can add a list to table as a row or as a column, but the tables really are a very simple two-dimensional array, whereas lists are designed to be a one-dimensional array that are very flexible and can do lots of different things. So I know what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the browser functions and do a scrape attribute here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on it here. Okay, immediately I already see a problem. Okay, I see that it's trying to do an offset link, or an element offset, which says it's finding the first one here, and I'm gonna say value. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is, but I already know I'm gonna have problems here, but I'm gonna run through it anyhow. Okay, so let's see what we have here. We're gonna jump to the debugger here, and as I guess I had one item, but there's nothing in that one item, so I'm definitely grabbing the wrong value here. So value's not it. Inner text. Okay, let's just rerun that. And Shazam, I've got the title. Now let's also go one step further here, and let's see how if we can just grab the URL by just saying there's a couple options here. I can select full URL. Let's try that. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. It really depends on the page. Okay, so it's not grabbing the correct one. It's grabbing the dig URL. Let's just do an edit here again. And I have seen that elsewhere, and just the href. Okay, I'm going to run that. And sure enough, it's grabbed the link there for me. So I already know immediately what I got to do. So I'm going to create another list here. Oops. Sorry. Okay, I'm just going to plunk this below to keep everything tidy. I'm going to do another add list to list. Actually, a really quick way to do this is using the right click and copy and right click and paste. Now what I've done is I'm using the professional version for this, so I can go into the node view and work from it there. So what I can do is, okay, nothing's open but it thinks there is, so okay, sometimes Ubot will do this. The easy way is just open up a second tab, come back here, and it will run. So I can jump over to code view. I could have literally grabbed this, copied, and then just paste it. So I could have went like this. I could have copied the code here and pasted it below, and went back to the node view and just changed the names as I see fit. But it's either way. One half dozen, 1/6 of the other. So it's really up to you how you want to do it. So one case, I know I want to grab the href, and in the other case, I know I want to grab the inner text. So I'm going to change that to that. Let's run that here, and let's go over to the list. So we have 2 items, so I had to make a change here. I have to edit list to list. It's putting it into the wrong list, so I'm going to select the URL, so say OK, and run this again. Okay, so looks like we got it now. Okay, so we're getting the name and we're getting the URL here. Okay, so I know that I want to not just grab one, I want to grab all of them on the page. Now let's just analyze the page a little bit. I think I want to grab just the top stories for now. So actually, I'll grab all of them for the time being. I actually quite like them. I quite like even the populars here. So the populars might give me more information to further search on and see if there's a trend emerging on that particular topic. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to change what I'm scraping here. So I'm going to edit this. Now, when I went in here and select this, I just selected this here like that, and it grabbed that. Sometimes, though, what you want to do is you want to select outside. I want to get away from that. I don't want that to be highlighted. I want you to see everything here. There we go. Okay, now sometimes what I'll do is I'll just move just slightly out of scope here. See how it added more space there? So what's happening is I'm kind of delving into the next level here. And I'm going to select that. Okay, it's still doing an element of offset here, which I don't like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to scrape it. I'm going to go for it's still trying to do an offset here. So I'm going to edit this. And what I'm going to do, you notice here it's not really showing me anything from the page. And the advanced editor is not showing me anything because we only really are getting the top offset. What I can do though is I can say here, okay, we're getting the story class or story headline. Actually, let's go back one. Let's just say we select that. I'd like to show you the whole process here because I did do this earlier before I started recording. Okay, so I am seeing like a class of story link. Let's see what we can do here. So I'm going to select class story link exact match and say OK and OK. I'm going to run that. I want to see how many I get here. Okay, so I got 109 items. Okay, that might be more than what I want. Let me see. from the actual website here how many main stories are coming through. Okay, there's 3 to a list. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. So it's 30 top. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, there's a whole bunch of other ones down here too. So let's take a look here. Let's see where this list ends. Okay, I'm going to grab the debugger here. So it goes right down to catastrophic failure in prediction. Now, if I want to get all of these things, this would be an ideal way to scrape them. But I'm not sure if that's what I want to do. Let's see here. Lessons in Hrub Spectacle. Gee, I don't even know where it's ending. It's very possible because Dig is such a JavaScript-driven site, I'm not seeing the same results on the end of the page here. But you know, all I want to grab really is the top major links, like I think the top stories in Popular. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to alter the parameters here. And I'm going to go out like I did here and grab the next level up. Basically what's happening is when I'm grabbing the bubble or the box in the web page and moving over and grabbing it one level up, I'm actually kind of stepping into a wider level of HTML code. Okay? So you can see here that I'm still seeing the inner stuff here that we had before, like the actual hyperlink. But now I'm getting a class of story headline. I kind of like that. Let's see what that does. I'm going to say OK. I'm going to say OK. I'm going to run it, and let's see how many results we get this time. 44. Okay, let's see what the last one is. A brief history of dolphins turning up in New York City. Let's go back to the website. Okay, great. It's actually stopping me right there, and that's exactly what I wanted to go for. If I wanted to just get the top links, I know that there's 30 top links. What I could do is I could run a subroutine and shave this down. You know, I could probably do a lot more goofing around and trying to narrow this down just to 30. But if I just wanted the top links, I could just run a list replacement and just shave off. Just grab the first 30 links that are coming up, or the first 30 titles, and then leave it at that. But I like what I'm seeing. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go in here and just because I'm lazy as can be, I'm going to delete this one and I'm going to paste this back in here. And I know that I've got to edit this, so I'm going to edit this, and I know I have to put URLs in here. And I also have to change this from inner text to href. Okay, so let's just run a test on this. Okay, so let's see what we have here. So we have 44 items here. And in URLs we got one item and it's a blank, so there's a problem here. So let's delve a little bit deeper here and see what's going on. Okay, so what the problem is there is no, in this level here, there is a link in here which is one level down in terms of HTML, but there's no link within here. Now, Ubot is intelligent enough to go in and grab the text in the middle, which is frustrating, but it's the way it is. But it's not smart enough to go in and grab the link. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to figure out a way to grab that link. So what I'm going to do is I am going to right click and I'm going to copy that in my handy notepad here. I'm just going to put it in here. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go in here and edit exactly what I'm scraping. So I'm going to get rid of that information here. And I am going to put an element child in here. I'm going to paste that into there. Okay, let's see what happens now. Okay, once again, no dice. Okay, so let's just take a look at this. Think on this a little bit. I'm having one of those days. It's a Saturday afternoon. I should be doing other things than doing tutorial videos. And I was sitting there thinking about it, thinking, oh, I'm doing this exactly backwards here. So it's an element parent. I'm going to go in here and select the larger setting here. It's doing the offset, so I'm going to go in here and tell it to choose the proper class, which is the parent, and it's the story headline. I'm going to say OK. And I'm going to tell it to choose inner HTML. And let's see what happens. Oh, and by the way, too, one thing I did forget to mention is if there's duplicates, tell it not to delete, because it can really mess you up sometimes when you're trying to figure out why you're not scraping the right amount from the page. So I'm just going to change these both to don't delete. I would like to see multiple stories if they do appear, so that's good for me. I'm going to run a run here. Okay, let's see what we're getting now. So now we're getting inside the URLs. We're getting the whole bits and pieces from inside. So there's a class story image. Let's just take, okay, class story kicker, story domain. Let's see if we can find a story preview. Well, it's kind of all over the board. Okay, let's just take a look at this again here. Now sometimes, like I said, some sites are a little more difficult, and that's why I chose this one. I'm going to look at this here. Okay, so I see, look at that, it's grabbing on an entry, a whole bunch of stuff. So, story image, okay, 0. I'm 90% sure this is the link we want right here. Just going to open this up a little bit here. Bring this into frame so you can see what I'm doing. I bet you it's duplicating the information. Okay, salon. Okay, so the link here is salon.com. Let's just grab the page here, bring it over to here. You see coming up on the bottom here? Just watch out in the bottom right here. New York Times, salon.com. Again, it's another salon.com. The fourth one is a YouTube link. Let's just take a look here. Salon.com. And YouTube. Okay, so what we're pulling is we're pulling a lot of information here. So let's see if we can tell UBot to prune this down for us automatically. It's fairly complex, so it might not. So let's just, instead of inner HTML, let's do href. Okay, let's run that. Okay, no, it's too complex. The inner guts is just too complex for UBot. Okay, let's try. Full href. Okay, so again, it's just pulling the dig. So that's not going to work either. So we're going to have to use a little bit of thought and ingenuity to grab our links out of these. We've got what we want. We've got still too much. So what I'm going to do is that I am going to tell it to go back to grabbing the inner HTML. Okay, I'm going to run that. Okay, so there we have it. So we have some inner HTML. Okay, the important thing too I want to mention is we have 44 links and we have 44. That's what we want to see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this one here. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to crack open the tool, the EditPad Lite. EditPad Lite is a piece of software shown in other tutorials. Highly recommended. Okay, I'm just going to bring it into scope here, and I'm going to paste this in here. Now, just so you know, U-Bot likes to throw a little bit of junk in the very front here. I don't want to see that. So what I'm going to do is I am going to prune using regex, and I've got it turned on, so if I get any links I'll show you here. You see how it's highlighting all the devs? Okay, so that's what I want to see. I want to see how many matches I get for the first line of text here. Okay, and I have just once. Perfect, perfect. So that I know I can use that to zero in if I need to. But what I'm going to do is I am going to, oh yeah, I might just need that. Look at that, because a lot of the other information is identical. I just can't go for the href because there's another href here that might not satisfy what I want. Story image. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and crack that open. I want to make sure that we're going to the right place here. So, successful and schizophrenic, okay. Oh, that's very interesting. It's all the same by the looks of it. The link is just duplicated again and again and again. Oh, but we do have them down here, but we have different information in front here. Okay, so let's just take a look. Let's zip up here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just grab that beginning information right there, and plunk it into here. Okay. And then I'm going to tell it to grab everything until it gets to that link there. So just the final. Okay, so on the top line here, it's already grabbing way too much. Oh, it's actually grabbing way too much here too. So I'm going to select like that. Okay. I've forgotten the code for not greedy. Okay, that's what I want. There we go. So what the question mark does is it says select everything but don't be greedy, and when you hit the first double quote, stop right there. So that's exactly what we got. Now we're still selecting way too much. So what I'm going to do is I only really want to select one entry. So I'm going to just take this and put it into my nice handy dandy notepad here. Let's get it out of the window here. And I'm going to tell it to find this information first. New line. Okay. Okay, so that's the very beginning. I want to grab the link information inside and go to the last one there. Okay, great. So at this point in time, we should have it coming up only once, and that's exactly what I want. Now, what I want to do now is I want to get rid of the information before and after, and I just want the link in the middle. So I'm going to do a little bit of things called assertions, a look ahead and look behind. So I'm going to create a look behind assertion here. Okay, see it's unhighlighted the yellow here, and I'm going to do just a look ahead assertion. So I'm going to say look ahead. There we go. Oh, I've done that wrong, I bet. Okay, there we go. So we got exactly what we want. So that's the regex expression I'm going to be using. Now I'm just going to go down here and stick that in there because I'm almost ready for it. So I now know that I can use that regex expression to grab exactly what I want. Now, I need to have it clean this up. Now I'm going to try a little of experiment here. I'm going to duplicate this because I wonder if I can put these two steps in one in the same thing here. Okay, so on this one here, I'm going to hide this one away because I don't want it to. I'm going to just stick it over here because I just want to get it out of the way. I don't want it to run in my line of execution in this particular tab. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to edit this. Okay. Okay, this is where going into code view is really going to help me out here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it to, I'm going to try to filter things down right away. So I'm going to try to do a fine regular expression. I don't know if I can do this here. Let me just jump over to this one here because I can mess this one up all I want. Okay. I'm going to go into, I'm going to say okay to this, and I'm going to go into code view here. I'm going to grab that. I think I got it all.